Goodness. All right. We are on.
I cannot thank you enough. This is a quantum leap for me. I always tell everybody 10 months ago, I had zero social media presence. And here I am with the person who got it all started, doing a Zoom that's live streaming to Facebook and
Yes.
on and on. So I have to thank you, Miss Kimberly T. Mitchell.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. This is the first time I actually live streaming too. I have this whole account, never used it. So here we are.
You were the person that told me just start. Do not overthink it.
Just start. Definitely.
And this is like living proof. The fact that we're doing this. You are fabulous already. Me, who was like so averse to social media, the things that I'm able to do because you said just do it. So
I'm learning too, girl. I'm learning too, sis. I'm learning too.
In addition to that, I'm the one that was like, can we do like a little video together? And you were like, sure. And I was like, okay, I'll set it up. Next thing you know, I'm like, oh, well, can you set it up too? And you're just totally making it happen. So I am here on your platform. Before I get too deep into it, let me just thank you. Everybody knows you because again, we're on your turf. My name is Nkechi Wachuku. I'm an attorney based in Mount Vernon, New York, and connected through Mount Vernon Toast.
Yes.
Masters Club. Found out that you were one of the founders when I joined about 2 years ago, October.
Mm-hmm.
You were not with the club at that point. I think you were living out of town.
Yeah.
But I learned that you were one of the founders.
Yeah.
That was so important to me when I met you and Manaima years later. I was just so grateful that you all had the foresight to start something that was serving people you may have never met.
Right.
It just totally changed my life. This is where I'm finding my voice, learning leadership, and it's because of the work that you put in years ago. So to be able to connect with you now, I'm going on and on. Now I found my voice. I can't stop. So
no, go ahead. I mean, that's what Toastmasters is about. It's about helping others find their voice and letting you know that there is a leader inside of you, and it helps you develop both of them. And it's a huge network, and I love the way that Toastmasters, they are true leaders, they're servant leaders. They don't mind taking any role. They don't mind the president, from the secretary, from the sergeant of arms. Every leadership role is extremely important. And it just feels so comfortable, and you don't have to worry about making a mistake because that's where you go to learn.
Exactly. I invite everybody. Toastmasters is not a spectator sport.
It's not.
Jump in and you learn by doing, and it's a welcoming environment. And I think you all created a monster out of me because now I feel like, no, I can do stuff. I can do things. You can't stop me. You can't, but you never start. So here I am.
Yes, that's what we want.
So
we give you a hand clap every time.
Exactly. And then at the end of the meeting, they'll pull you to the side and they give constructive criticism in
yes, definitely.
You just feel like they're rubbing you on your back.
Yeah.
You feel uplifted and you've improved in the process. And it doesn't come naturally. I'm learning it to skill.
It is.
So
it is. Because so many times, even people who have these titles, they just give criticism. I was gonna say they give criticism, but they do not tell you where you can improve at. So that's what Toastmasters is. We could tell you, oh, okay, well, you did this, and that, and you can't not but. We never say but because we give you a good comment. You don't say but because almost like you're taking it back. However, you could approve of you did this, so I saw this, but maybe you could work on doing this. We help you build and strengthen your skills. We don't ever want someone to get so turned off that they won't come back.
So the reason I wanted to come down, I guess just to give this discussion is really a conversation. Shape was Mount Vernon's host at the last meeting about 2 weeks ago. We had our speech contest, and you were a contestant in the international speech contest and gave a speech entitled All Things.
Yes.
First of all, you were voted the winner of the contest. That's not, and even as important as that was not the reason I wanted to continue the discussion. I serve as you're the secretary, the VP of education, so I served as the contest chair.
Right.
In that role, I asked
that's a big leadership role.
I asked everyone who participated, all the contestants, just some follow-up questions. It was an interview. And you mentioned that you had the gift of writing.
Right.
First, I was struck by how it just flowed out of you, that you said, I have the gift of writing. You had put it down for a little while, but picked it back up. And I was like, there's so many of us out here who don't even know that we have gifts. Somebody asked you, what is your gift? If it's not singing or something that's really showy, a lot of us don't feel like we have gifts. So for you not to just have a gift, but feel comfortable enough to express it to the world, this is my gift. And my follow-up question was, well, how do you know that you have the gift of writing? And in part of your answer, you said, well, something is your gift when you share it and the other person feels like they just had an experience.
Absolutely.
And time was limited then. And I was like, no, we have to continue this conversation. Every time I speak to you, there's more and more and more. So just as a format, if you would just allow me to use this time to just kind of ask you questions, and like I said, every time I get nuggets, maybe we can just, if you're available to answer a few questions.
Sure.
Love to just listen.
Sure, no problem.
Okay. Anything you want to tell the people about yourself before we get started?
It took a long time to, like you said, how I just said it. I mean, sometimes it kind of like takes me aback a little bit, because I never was confident and comfortable in saying that something was my gift. Or like you said, everybody looks for these other glamorous things to be their gifts, and writing could be just as important, or speaking could be just as important, because what you say to someone and what they receive from it could be a matter of life, basically life and death. Because like I said, in one point, part of my speech, I said, you could talk to someone 5 to 7 minutes. Thanks for Toastmasters. You can speak to somebody for 5 to 7 minutes, and they can actually go back home and rethink their plan or what they was going to do to themselves during that day and during that time. I love writing. I used to write these letters to my parents or to whomever, and it was just like a heartfelt. It was heart. It's like I could write from my heart to yours. Okay. That's why I said that when you have a gift, you know it when somebody could receive an experience from what you just give them. I couldn't go inside of a stationery store and pick up just any card. I read at each one, and each card had to represent how I feel about you. So I would stay there for hours looking for that card until I started learning to write it myself.
Write your own.
Right.
That is so key. What you said, in 5 to 7 minutes, you can change somebody's day. You literally did that for me yesterday morning, because I had asked for us to get together probably, it's over a week ago. And then I was just starting to feel overwhelmed. I didn't realize it was overwhelmed with all the other things I have going on in my life and my family and everything. And I just picked up the phone yesterday. First, I texted you, said, do you have a minute to talk? You were like, of course. And I called you. You weren't just chilling. You were like on your way to work. You were like getting in the cab. I heard when you got to your destination, I could hear the voices. And you're still taking time to talk to me. So that's important. But I woke up in the morning. It's still winter time, but yesterday was our first really warm day.
Right.
The sun was shining. I could hear the birds singing. But in my mind, I was also thinking about some of the issues that I'm facing. So my day was about to go either way. I'm like, do I spend a lot of mental, emotional, physical energy trying to work out some of these issues, or do I appreciate the sunshine and the birds and stuff? And am I calling just to organize what we're doing today, which you said, don't worry about it, I'll take it on. You just were dropping, first of all, you packaged it and said you might be experiencing burnout. I was like, you know what, maybe. And just in your short talk, I had a great rest of the day. I approached my children differently, checked in on me at the end of the day with a quick text, how was your day? And it turned out to be a great day, just from the words you shared. And you shared another Toastmasters lesson. I think you were setting up for a conference or something like that. And another Toastmaster was evaluating you on your experience. And one of the first things you said they told you is, who's helping you?
Right. And quickly I had to be like, yeah, I have somebody helping me, because you forget, you are evaluated on everything. And it's not a bad thing. You evaluate it. Like I said too, for you don't experience burnout. They don't want you. That's a leader delegates. And to learn to be a leader, you have to learn how, it's okay to ask for help. You don't have to take it on by yourself. VPE is big, Nkechi. That's a whole big role. You're VP of education, the whole thing. Your job maintaining, making sure that everybody is on their path, doing speeches, making sure they're doing the evaluations, and when they're going to do a speech, when's your next speech, when's your next leadership role. That's a lot. You technically have 3 jobs. You have 3 jobs. You're an entrepreneur. You're a lawyer. You working with your children and helping people navigate through this stay at home, remote learning with their children. That's no easy task. Okay. And then you got Toastmasters.
And it's so.
Now I don't want you to be like, oh, wait a minute, I got 3 jobs, let me leave them all. But I don't want you to think about it that way.
And it's through associating with veterans like yourself that, help us like put language to what we're feeling.
Right.
And literally change lives. It's not a spectator sport, like you mentioned. Every role is important. There's nobody up here and then every piece still turning. So that was a huge one. Who is helping you? It's okay to ask for help. I'm so glad. That's again why we're able to do this today, because it was, if I had to set it up, I said, I just want to show up. If I had to set it up and figure out more social media stuff, because I'm not on and popping, I was like, oh, you can record on Zoom and live stream it. And you were like, do.
I learned this not too long ago too. It was a lot of YouTube University until I got it together.
And that was another thing that got to, because when you said don't overthink it, just start. And then you invited me to your private Facebook group. That same, like within 5 minutes or so. So I logged on and it was all set up and fabulous and everything. Wow, when did you set this up?
Oh my gosh.
Like a year or two ago.
Just a few,
Like yesterday, like the day before we spoke, you had set all that up?
no, a few months ago. I just had this account. I was like, okay, I don't use it. I don't have interviews or interact, and that's what I want to do more of. I want to be able to speak to, different people, different women, entrepreneurs, writers, whoever. Like, I just wanted to start doing little interviews and little speaking engagements if I have something important to say. Something, but it's been a few months now, just sitting here. And I'm glad you asked.
I think what inspired me was that you were walking your talk. You were like, don't overthink it, just start. And you literally had just started.
Just started.
At that point that we had spoken, which was about like 2 months ago, I think you had just launched that group the day before. You said less than 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
So I so much appreciate, you showing me and being willing to share what you're learning as you go.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem. I learned also I also been following the public speaker winner in 2018, Ramona J. Smith. I've been following her and some of her feedbacks and her pointers. I've been trying to add them to mine and, helping other people along the way as far as like with the speaking part of it. When she was like, you got to check the ego at the door. She was like, Toastmasters is not about ego. So check it at the door. Do not go into anything, the contest. Don't even go into the meetings. Don't go into the meetings thinking that you're better than anybody. I was like, oh, okay. So I started writing stuff down. And I'm not ashamed to share it. A lot of people want to hold on to nuggets. I'm like, no, here you go. This is how you do it. To help you further yourself, I don't mind.
Can you talk a bit more about the ego? What was she getting at?
The ego. Actually, it was right before the contest. She told me
this last one that we had?
Yes, I was at like one of the Toastmasters is now on Zoom, so I was in one of those Toastmasters like the webinars, and she said that she tried 3 times to get to up to the big stage. At the time, it was the big stage, and she said after the first try and the second try, she was going in and said, oh, yeah, I'm going to win this contest. I'm going to win this contest. And she didn't. She came in third or something like that. I was like, oh, wow. Like you have to know that you have to remember what Toastmasters is about, like I said, but you can't go in there with the ego. And she also said to make sure that your speech has something to say for the audience. And if you have to, print out the judges' criteria, which is content, language, appearance. And she said, make sure you always stand up when you're giving a speech.
Okay. Why? Why stand?
She didn't say why, but I want to say now because, before COVID hit, okay, before we started just being on Zoom, everybody's just being lazy and we're just talking like it doesn't look the same. From if I'm standing up, I'm more, animated, So if I'm standing here, you're just looking, you could be uninterested or, you could start going to other tabs and doing other tasks and not paying attention to the person who's speaking. So when you're a little bit more animated, you're walking around or you're saying things, you're acting it out a little bit. So I believe it's something like, it's more so like that.
And I noticed you were standing when you gave your speech, your winning speech.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Standing. You want to talk a little bit about your speech?
And you also got to come dressed. You can't be that she mentioned that to her parents. If you want to do a contest, you have to come dressed as if you was on the actual stage.
You know, that's so true because I'm a new entrepreneur and I wanted to record a Facebook Live just right before we came out. I was out with my kids at the park because of the good weather.
Yes, it is beautiful.
Re-record. I just recorded it. And to be honest, I was going to go out with the curlers in my hair and the scarf over my head because I'm like, okay, this is quick, this is real, this is how I'm doing. And I was like, wait a minute. If I were going into somebody's office or meeting a client or something like that,
You were the face.
I'm kind of low maintenance, but I would take the curlers out my hair. So why would I do anything less when I'm addressing people who would be interested in even sharing time?
I'm not saying you have to put on a gown and a whole whatever, but just make yourself a little more presentable when you go out and you do live and stuff like that.
That's a good point, especially now that I'm building my own.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
you're a lawyer and a stay-at-home mom. You want people to know that they can make it through being a stay-at-home mom. But if you come on here looking frazzled, and you're telling them that they could make it through, they will think, I don't know. She looked like she's about to fall apart.
She ain't making it through herself. Yep. Okay. In fact, I need to put my A game on.
Yeah.
Then do it for me.
Yeah, do it for. And matter of fact, if that, just do it for you.
Yeah.
So makes you feel a whole lot better.
I give my best to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
My own ventures. So okay. Great point. Well, ma'am, I don't know how much time we have. Any nuggets?
I know you're supposed to be asking me questions, but I want to know about the stay at home, the not the stay at home mom, but the remote learning for children. How's that going? What is that about?
Well,
I know I shouldn't be putting you on the spot.
No. Like this COVID season, and I mentioned that in I'll do a post on it. I've actually been enlarging my territory.
Okay.
That entrepreneurship really makes you a thinker and a problem solver. In fact, listen, when folks give me advice, I listen because usually I have like a blank screen, blank wall behind me, and people are like, put something on your wall, put something on. And I'm just so conservative. I don't need much. So I was going through, just looking for some word art and stuff like that.
Yeah, I like that.
But then some of the stuff is like copyrighted and it's not yours to use. So I just decided this was my own idea. It's like, okay, home plus school, homeschool. And my daughter just happens to get some construction paper out. You can't see it now, but she had cut the grass and, really made, and I like the sun rays, how they're coming off the edge of the, let's put this together and make it. That's right. I'm officially homeschooling my 3 kids, grade 8, 6, and 3.
That is not an easy task.
Well,
but you're doing it so well.
Because first of home is just naturally, your kids are going to learn from you naturally. That we're teaching them whether we're intentional about it or not.
I like that.
And I homeschooled officially a few years back. I just felt the pull to pour into my kids like they were growing and soon they'd be out, of my reach. So I decided to resign from my full-time position and I started homeschooling them. At that time, ended up re-enrolling them in school, but fast forward to today when the school building shut down. And I was like, wait a minute, and there were 3 different schools, 3 different platforms. The route was kind of up and down. And I was like, just for stability, to keep everybody on an even keel, let's homeschool. We have old-fashioned books that you open up. You don't need to plug them in. We didn't even have all the devices that they needed. And
that's even better.
on one side, on the one hand, it's kind of hard because you have to get systems in place, but on the other hand, it's been very easy because the kids are learning to teach themselves. And that's what we do as adults, lifelong learning. They're
Yeah.
learning how to manage their own schedules, do their own work, read the instructions for themselves. So I don't have to spoon feed them every piece of information. And they're cooking, they're cleaning. Like you said, who's helping you? My kids.
Listen,
So it's
I'm so happy.
it's a very it's a very great collaboration right now. And before I was a stay-at-home mom while we were homeschooling. Now I'm a mompreneur. So with
Yeah, that's it.
everything, but I'm focused on definitely building my practice, being able to serve with intention, serve families, serve the community. So it's been a great learning experience. And this is the first kind of hiccup I've had to try to overcome. Because when I first started, I'm 3 years in with my practice. When I first started, I got a contract right away, and it was off and running. So this is the first time that I have to retool, regroup.
Yeah, it's a learning process. It's a learning curve.
And I'm like, when I make it through this, it's a wrap, y'all. It's it's a wrap. I may not be employable again.
No, yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I'm like, no, but I'm saying when I see the possibilities by being an entrepreneur, having flexibility, no cap on what you're able to do.
Oh, I thought you meant as far as getting clients and stuff like that. Oh no, yeah, no, you're not. You're not going.
No, no, I meant as far as kind of like fitting myself into a mold and having to get back into a regular schedule. They call it like building somebody else's dream.
It is.
Instead of building my own.
You're not made for this. You do this so well and flawlessly. It's just amazing. I know it's work on the other side, but you do it so well. It's just don't forget to ask for help.
Yes, yes. And I realize I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to learn. This whole money.
That's Toastmasters.
Yes. Yes. I think, when I meet people who are members of Toastmasters for a long time, at first I was like, but why? I mean, you've learned everything, but I realize how it just continues to unfold and it stays relevant. And the stuff that I'm learning, I'm like, okay, because there's always another level. Even if you master the club level, well, you have the area and operate and build teams and get things done on a wider level. And it goes all the way to international. So even how I deal with my family and the feedback I give my kids, Toastmasters is.
You learn how to give your kids proper feedback because of Toastmasters. You're not criticizing them. You're giving them constructive feedback.
Exactly.
And it helps them grow. Come on. Like you don't want to do this, you're not doing nothing right. That's it. You want to try to give them redirect them.
Yeah. Yeah. But speaking of entrepreneurship, you ain't gonna keep asking me questions. Let me ask the question.
But you know what I mean? I love it. I love knowing about people need to know about you too.
I think we touched on entrepreneurship in one of our conversations before. What do you have in mind?
I started a nonprofit, and that nonprofit was actually, look, here's the book, actually came from this book, Finding Love and Healing in the Pen. And what I wanted to do with the nonprofit is help women, especially single women, or married, those that are struggling to get a leg up in society, trying to get their lives together. Mainly, I put in the book about me going to Pace University. But at the time, because if it was a grant funded, you couldn't miss a certain amount of days. And a lot of young women were dropping out because they couldn't find babysitters like on a Saturday or something like that because they had classes on a Saturday. So And I was like, well, why y'all don't have classes on a Saturday? Y'all need to have a daycare. I mean, y'all need to have a daycare on Saturdays, but then I didn't know about insurance companies that they need to be insured. I was like, oh, so that's when I was like rough around the edges, telling people what to do. Like, yeah, I need to have this, you need that. And I wasn't a part of Toastmasters, so I didn't know how to say it. So I wanted to be that help that Pace University was, because Pace University decided to team up with DSS and say, okay, we're going to help these women on public assistance go to school, get a certificate. And if they want to go on, they can get their associates. And what I did was went on further and I got my degree in communications. So, and at different points, they used to have not just school supplies to Nkechi, they had like these name brand items for kids. And my son, who was only 5 years old, was receiving like Calvin Klein pants, name brand shirts, and book bags and art, school supplies. His book bag was full. This is for a kindergarten kid. He was not left out of it. I was like, okay, he don't know how to write yet. Like, he's getting all this. They're like, this is you're part of the program, so he gets what he gets this stuff. But my daughter, who was 1 at the time, of course, they didn't have the infant stuff. They was giving away back to school supplies. And it was great. I loved it. So I want his unlikely source to be like that. I don't want to say crutch, something to help level other women up so that they could continue to go forth on their journey. Gotta help me get there. Gotta give myself there.
Okay, no, because if we were having our one-on-one phone conversations, because I still have this, I would totally tell you when you talked about helping women level up, of the help that I received in the past. I think I'm still kind of shy to like let everything out and be as transparent as possible, but that's.
I mean, like I said too, before you answer me, like I said too, I said you might not tell a tell-all book, and you might not tell everybody but you may do it in a different way, and you think this book is pretty deep.
But I mean, like, your speech was like 100% transparent, and I think that's what drew me to you. Every time I reach out to you, you're 100% transparent, and that's what actually encourages me. So I'm like, who am I not helping when I hold back?
Yes, that's a good question.
Somebody might need to hear that.
Good question.
While you're busy trying to be all together and you're not sharing
how.
But I hear you with the leveling up. I am a beneficiary of people who put things together to help me level up, take care of myself, take care of my kids, take care of my family. So
yeah, and that's another thing. Not everybody is as blessed to have parents around and involved. And my parents was very much involved in making sure that I didn't have to stay home from school, college, when I was going to get my degrees. They was very much so a part of my children's lives, taking them to baseball practice, basketball practice, football practice, ballet. They was involved. And not everybody have that. So I want to try to make a bridge or, develop something where women could continue to pursue their dreams and they don't feel like they have to lose out from anything because they're lacking in one area.
Well, I guess with that, just let's both stay on our journeys. I think I ended my last conversation by saying, thanks, sis. I had never called you sis before, but you continue to.
Oh,
my heart.
I take that seriously. That is my.
So, yes. And this is just kind of like the tip of the iceberg. Because I share stuff with you that, is not all on blast. Maybe I'll get to the place. But so I much appreciate
One day, if not, I could talk all day for you.
And that we do. We talk before and after the show. So
Right. Absolutely.
thank you so much for making this happen. Again, I'm going to I benefit personally, and you were the one that reminded me that you can count this towards a project and keep you moving ahead.
Everything that you're doing, something, it goes to something somewhere. If not in the next speech, probably the next 2 speeches down, but it goes somewhere.
So I thank you for continuing to be an integral part of my growth journey.
Oh, no problem.
Your little nuggets inspire.
I'm blessed to be a part of your journey. I'm blessed to be able to watch it and see it, the growth.
Wow.
I love it.
In Nigeria, they say one hand washes the other. So let's be blessed together.
Yes.
So I will let you close out. You're the one who started the recording, started the live stream. I'll let you close out with a few special words and a goodbye to the people. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for wanting to speak with me. And I am loving the opportunity to be able to speak with you. And, we learn a lot about each other, even when we don't speak, talk inside of Toastmasters, where we, Toastmasters, I want to say we mean business, but we have fun too.
Yes. Yes.
And I like our off the record conversations that we have. And listen, I'm not going to let my sister drown. If I see my sister drown, I'm always going to try to I'm going to pull her back up. I'm not going to try. I want to pull her back up. And that's just that. That's just who I am. And I pray that I continue to I'm able to share it more. So hopefully I win the area contest.
Represent Mount Vernon Toast.
Mount Vernon Toast at the area contest, March 27th, right? At 11 a.m. I think. Okay. There's somewhere on that back wall. I just scribbled a lot of stuff. That's the calendar and the goal calendar. So got some of everything in there.
Your goals?
Yeah.
Girl, don't start another conversation. Do not start another conversation.
I actually put first place international speaker before I won the contest. I did. And I decided to be more specific and I put world champion of public speaking after I won the contest.
You know what? That's resonating with me because I keep a little journal and at the back I started putting desired results, acquired results.
Yes.
Because somebody said to write things out as if they've already happened. When you talk about like a to-do list, like do this, no. What result do you want? And then how do you plug your
how did you go
in to achieve that result? So I love that you're starting with the result first.
And I didn't put a date down because you can mess yourself up by putting some things, some goals you can put a date, other goals you shouldn't. But like say being a world champ, like a public speaker, I know I need to work on it still. So I wouldn't say I want to be a public speaker by a certain date. I know I need to still work on it. And the journey is fine. It's after the journey is fine.
I love that. Yeah, and the journey is what it's about. It never ends. It never ends.
Yeah.
One.
So.
Well, thank you, sis.
Thank you, my sis. Thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey and your experience with Toastmasters. And I can't wait to see what else is going to come from you. Keep me posted as always. Okay.
Same here. I have you on speed dial and text.
That's right. That's right. And I don't care what time it is. If you say, can you speak? I'm going to say yes. Because I want you to call me because I need to hear your voice. I got to hear that you're okay. Texting, I don't know. Texting is just, it's so, it's not connected. I need to feel.
All right. So true. All right, folks. Thanks for joining in on our conversation.
Joining us. Good night, guys.
Good night.